But because there are less people, now I think is a really good opportunity, for someone who wants to experience some really, really good ramen to go check out some of these places. That's just like, hey, thanks for tuning in again, you guys. Welcome to episode one. Hey, thanks for tuning in, everyone. Before we get started, as always, please like, subscribe, notification bell. I'm seeing the likes go up, the views go up because of it. So maybe it's also because of the topics I'm choosing. I don't know, but slowly but surely the numbers are going up. So thankful. I'm thankful for you guys who have been participating in that, feedback exercise, and I encourage you guys to keep it up in this episode as well. So thanks a lot, and let's get into it. Yo, hey, 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 yo, hey, you, you shoplifter. No. All right, all right, this is episode 160. Really short episode. I mainly focused on some of the supplemental information that I just randomly pulled out of my ass literally today, but it really does give some in-depth information for you to think about, watch, consume, read, and hopefully eat as well. So a little hidden surprise gem for you there. But yeah, not too long, not too short. Some good stuff in the middle. So enjoy. Hello again, everyone. What's going on? We're back in the evening for another episode of Japan According to Akil. Yeah. Let's do it. Should I be wearing this? Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Japan According to Akil. Let's get into it. Really excited for this episode. It's going to be a short and sweet one. Yeah, I got, I wasn't going to record. To be honest with you, I wasn't going to record tonight, but I was like, let me hook y'all up with some information. Mainly what inspired me is something popped up on my timeline, a mini doc. That's all I'm going to do tonight. Just give you guys some stuff to check out on your own, pretty much. I don't really have too much to offer. I think the supplemental information I have speaks for itself. We do have a few new subscribers. Hey, you guys, thanks for joining the party. I would say on YouTube at least. I don't get that much data on the audio, so I don't really have definite numbers as far as the people subscribe to the podcast. But as far as audio goes, but I can see our audio numbers rising. So thank you guys for that, listening in audio world. And as always, I'm just happy to be here, share my thoughts, share information with you guys about this very interesting land of Japan that I live in. And hopefully, when everything clears up, opens up, you'll have the opportunity to enjoy the ups, downs, ins, and outs of this country as I do in my everyday life. So, what we're gonna do today, again, it's gonna be really short because I want to finish watching this TV show that I'm watching, the climactic ending of the Castlevania anime series on Netflix. That I've been working my way through. I heard that they're not gonna renew the series, which is kind of a bummer to me. So I was kind of saving the final episode until after I record. So. I'm on season 4, which came out recently here in Japan. It came out all over the world recently. If you haven't watched it before, it is quite gory, quite occult. Like if you're like I was watching this and I was like, yeesh, like a hardcore Christian person would think this is like, the devil, because it kind of is, but I mean, I didn't take it that, I'm not taking it that seriously, but definitely the story is really good. The characters are real. The dialogue is great between the characters, especially after you get past the first season. The first season, they try to do a little shock and gore kind of stuff, but once you get to like the second season, they really developed the characters. That's what really drew me into the show, to be honest with you. The story, the characters, the like dialogue, that it's just really they did a really, really good job with the characters. Some of the fight scenes when you get towards the like the end of each season, they got the big battles and shit. So I mean, all of it is really, really interesting, compelling stuff. Sometimes I'm watching, I'm just like, yeesh. Some of the shit on there is just like, fuck, but if you can get past that, if you can get past the religious implications, if you can get past the gore and the blood and the monsters and the eyeballs popping out and shit like that every now and then, it's a great show. So give it a shot if you want to. That's another random, completely unrelated to Japan. I mean, well, there are some characters related to Japan, but whatever. It has nothing to do with Japan. Okay, it's just my personal entertainment for the evening. So this is not going to be a long podcast because afterwards I'm going to wrap up that show and take my ass to bed. I was thinking about buying some beer tonight, but I was like, I'm not. It's rainy. Rainy season's here, by the way. The most wonderful time of the year. If you know, I'm not a rainy season fan at all. Like, this is the time of year that really sucks to be in Japan. I mean, it doesn't really. Okay, it kind of sucks. It kind of sucks. There's no way around it. Like the weather forecast is. Let me check, make sure. Okay, that's all right. Have to make sure I'm recording. Video at least. I know the audio's there, but anyway. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, rainy season. Yeah, I mean, you just look at the fucking weather report. It's just like rain, 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 cloudy, rain, cloudy, rain, rain. Like it's like that's literally what it looks like for about the next month or so. So there's no way around it. You just gotta power through it. The humidity's rising here, and it's just like, yeah. So I mean, Japanese people don't like it, and I don't really like it. The bugs come out, mosquitoes are going to come out as a result of it. So I'm fortifying the house defenses right now. I got some citronella oil on deck. I told my wife, you gotta buy a diffuser. We gotta plant that thing right near the doorway, get those fumes going to keep them bastards outside, because as soon as, depending on where you live, as soon as the door opens and the mosquitoes want to come rushing in, and I don't know where you're at, but it fucking sucks when you're trying to sleep and you got mosquitoes buzzing around the room. It's just, so whatever. Citronella keeps it away, so that's kind of the play for this year. Just my job is like the defenses, the bug defenses for the house is kind of my job. So I'm just getting everything prepared now, and so that when in a couple of weeks, when the mosquitoes really start flying, we're all prepared to keep the motherfuckers away. So that's about it for me. NBA playoffs is what I'm looking forward to. I've got the day off tomorrow, yay! So of course I'm going to Costco, and I'm gonna wake up early and watch the playoffs, the playing games. So that's about it for me. But let me get into this information related to Japan. What the fuck am I doing? Okay. Okay. So yeah, how this recording session started this morning on my commute into Tokyo. Really interesting little mini doc, which is of course in the description. Please check it out. About, I think, 10 plus minutes about the Olympics. And of course, we know the situation. It's not really that so much. It's related to the budget of the Olympics. I don't know if you've heard my hot take on the Olympics budget, but ever since we got the Olympics, my theory has been that the Olympics are going to end up bankrupting Tokyo. Pretty much, that just if you take the case study of what happened in Greece, Athens, Greece, or Greece in general. I know it's a smaller country. The economy had a lot more issues, but if you notice, like, generally, I think there's been a few games, like 1 or 2 years after the games, when the party's over and the bill comes due, that's when the economic trouble kind of starts. And watching, so this little economic thing piqued my interest because they actually gave some hardcore numbers of what I was talking about and what I was thinking. And so, yeah, it's kind of of fucking cash. This has been blown on these games. Whether they actually go through or not is irrelevant at this point, because we're not going to be having foreign tourists coming in, and probably not, or have a reduced, at least a reduced amount of fans in the seats if they do have that. So the money you generated from the games is just not going to be there, the majority of it for Japan. So which mean and the way Japanese corporate structure works, the documentary didn't really explain it so well, I think, but the budget, if you they talk about how the budget has ballooned in Japan, but of course they talk about raw materials costs and labor costs, which is a thing. I think I might have talked about it on labor costs on here in the past. I can't remember, but another thing which they really didn't touch on is the corporate structure of Japan, where there's a lot of middlemen companies, under the table backroom deals and things like that. Basically, everybody's got their hand in the cookie jar, taking money out of the budget, especially the larger corporations, larger companies. They kind of have probably gobbled up a lot of that budget, through inside backroom deals. This is purely speculation on my part, but pretty much is the way it goes. Like, the budget projects, you just look at some of the estimates and things like that, projects that probably could be streamlined and done for half, maybe even like a fraction. I wouldn't say a fraction. I don't know. This is just wild speculation on my part. English teacher, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. But, I would just say, definitely 50% or less the overall cost of some of these construction projects. They probably could get done if they weren't, contracted out and then subcontracted out over and over and over again. You have no idea how much this happens, so basically eventually what you have happen is you got this larger companies who get a contract, they just subcontract it to a subcontractor to a subcontractor to a subcontractor, which just balloons the cost of these things, So, and then they have consulting companies. It's just been a bunch of news in the Olympics. Of course, all the news controversy is kind of like swept under the rug here. It doesn't really become a big thing. People grumble about it, but it doesn't become a big issue because that's just kind of the way Japan's set up. But I believe that whatever happens after 2021, at some point, whether this shit goes down or it doesn't go down, you're going to be hearing about the budgetary problems of Tokyo as a result of these games. For me, that's just inevitable. I kind of knew it going into this, like at least 5 years beforehand. That's just the way Japan works. And these type of projects, it's just, pigs and shit, basically. But don't take my word for it. Check out that link in the description wherever you're consuming this, and check it out for yourself. Another thing that popped up, which I never even fucking thought of to think about, but in my lesson today, I went to work today and I had a lesson, and we randomly talked about restaurants, and randomly it just popped into my head, like, I wonder if there are Michelin-starred ramen restaurants in Tokyo, which of course there are, duh, but I never thought to connect those two dots. So I did a quick Google search today in the lesson, and I found like a list of Michelin-starred ramen shops here in Tokyo. I never would have thought about that until today. And I mean, looking at some of the lines of those places, like, I ain't the one, I'm not the one to be waiting in line for like 2 hours to get a bowl of ramen. That's just not going to be me personally. But, I know there are people listening in Japan or outside Japan who are. It seems like several of these places are English friendly. Just looking at some of the information, I didn't read it. I just scanned through, look at some of the pictures, like, damn, that shit looks good, and left it at that. Because I would imagine because they're Michelin starred, there were a lot of tourists, especially up until 2019, really going into these places. And now that I think about it, now might be a great opportunity if you do live in Japan to visit some of these places, because you got to think, like, up until up until spring of last year, the massive amount of tourists coming in here, those places, the line was just probably around the fucking block, left and right every day. But because there are less people, now I think is a really good opportunity, for someone who wants to experience some really, really good ramen to go check out some of these places. That's just like my using your noodle, now is the time to act, in my opinion, on these places, and get some gourmet ramen. You can probably cut your wait time in half, maybe even more than that, just because if you go on the right day, right time, weekday, not the weekend, when they open up, things like that, just because there aren't as many tourists in the situation, things like that. So for you people in Japan, definitely check out that list. People in Tokyo, definitely check out that list. You know who I'm talking about, listeners, you know who I'm talking about, so check that out. Hopefully that's helpful for you guys. Send some pictures to me, and give me a doggy bag. Give me some Michelin star ramen doggy bag noodles or something. I don't know. Okay. The last thing, I know it's a short episode, it's like 15-20 minutes. Last thing, we're going to talk about is another thing, because I was just like, those two things aren't enough. I wanted something else. And I found a really interesting YouTube channel. Again, I haven't really checked out any of their other stuff, but the video that popped up is why do foreigners leave Japan? And basically it's this dude, I guess he's in a relationship, I don't know. He's just riding around Tokyo, I think Tokyo or somewhere in Japan, on a bike, recording and talking about why Japanese people leave Japan. I didn't listen to the whole thing because I'm familiar with the topic. I'm familiar with, I just looked at the timestamps in it. Again, my bad for not putting timestamps in. I'm not being consistent with the timestamps of the podcast. Again, I'm just throwing this shit out there here. I tried fiddling with timestamps in the past, but I'm just throwing this shit out here at this point. You'll get timestamps sometime in the future, but it ain't gonna be right now. I'm sorry if you new listeners. My bad. I tend to ramble in the beginning, but people on YouTube, sorry. I listen, I tend to listen back in the order of the pod, whatever, fuck it. Like, I'm just not doing it, okay? Sorry, I'm lazy, fuck it, okay? but whatchamacallit, yeah, but if just scrolling through the timestamps of what this guy was talking about, it seemed pretty on spot. And another tip, which I saw ironically on a comment about the video, definitely if you're living in Japan or considering coming to Japan, on that video, I highly recommend you read through the comments of that video, because one person said, oh, thank goodness I read the comments of it. And me just taking a second and just scrolling through, I was like, I wonder why. And scrolling through, yeah, there were a lot of gems, a lot of information of people's experiences who've been here for a while, reasons why they left, of course, and things that happened to them along the way. So it just Joshua, I think, as well, especially for you, that can be some really, really useful information. So definitely check that out. Definitely take the time to check the comments as well. I think you'll find some information, even if you're not considering coming here, just seeing what Japan's all about. People talk about, you hear all these love letter fucking videos about, it's true, why Japan's so great and what we love about Japan. And last time I did one about, why being in Japan too long and things like that. And it's true, but when the party's over and I've seen people with that look in their eye when they realize they're stuck around in this country, a bit too long. And yeah, some people freak out. Some people, scramble and run back to their home country. Some people, it's just a bittersweet thing. It's time to go. And I'm definitely a Japan lifer. I know that. If you ain't know that, you have not been listening. But I know I'm definitely here for life. But I know the vast majority of people aren't. And coming into Japan with a definite clear idea of for me now, I tell people when they come, it's bipolar. Either you go or you stay. You stay or you go. That's it. At some point, if you're gonna go, at some point you're gonna go, and time ticks by, and you kind of lose that sense of time as you're here. A year, 2, 3 years bleeds together really, really quickly. And especially, like I said, I've said before, if you come here in your mid to late 20s, zoom, 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 3, 4 years go by, and you're just like, oh shit, I'm pushing 30 now. Fuck, I gotta like start getting my shit together. And I've seen people freak out about it. I freaked out about it. And until I made the conviction that I was gonna stay. So I just always encourage people just to get ahead of the issue, and regardless, without freaking out about the issue, because as much I've seen, success stories of people going back. I've seen people who, I've heard people who, fuck around and, I don't know, the fuck in the wind, like I don't know, so I don't know, like but I just what I've heard from this video, it gives some food for thought, some reasons why people are leaving, and some maybe people before you enter the country, give you some image of some of the hurdles that you'll need to overcome if you are considering staying here, and how things change, can change for people with the intentions of staying here forever, who become jaded. Basically, that's what happens. Some people become jaded, and there are some jaded ass bitter people who feel stuck here. There are, they're around. But there are also some people who enjoy their life here. I'm one of them, and there are some people who, who just, like enjoy their time here, and understand when it's time to move on. The latter two, personally, I'd prefer for you, whoever you are, listening or watching, I prefer for you to fall into the final two categories. So if you're gonna leave, keep the benchmark in your mind of when to leave, and not only leaving, but what you're going to do upon the return to your home country, and prepare thoroughly, thusly, if that's even a word anymore, for that. If you're a person who's going to stay forever, be prepared for the mountain that you're going to climb, have to try to climb, the hills that you're going to have to try and climb. Lord knows I'm still climbing that mountain, and just be prepared for that, and I think this video and the comments accompanying it is another tool, the food for thought for that. So definitely check it out. That's my contribution to everybody's lives, to the world, to Japan, to the future. I'm just gloating. I don't know, in the glory of this podcast that nobody listens to. But whatever. Okay. All right. That's enough of that. Let me finish up my show. So thanks for watching, you guys, and I'll holler at you next time. Peace.